Hello guys and welcome. So in this video I wanted to answer the question, what is Dying Light 2? This video is aimed at people who know nothing about Dying Light 2, probably nothing about Dying Light as well. I've always been curious and I'll give my opinion why it's worth checking out. So Dying Light is a zombie apocalypse open world first person game which is it's different from other zombie games because the zombies are formidable. But we'll get onto that in a moment. So the game is developed by Techland, and it's going to be published by Square Enix. It's coming out in the first or second quarter of 2020. We don't know. We'll see when it's officially released, but soon, in the next few months. And as you can see, the main game protagonist for this game is called Aiden. So you'll be playing as Aiden throughout the whole game. Now, the way that Dying Light differs from other zombie apocalypse games is that the zombies are actually formidable. What that means is they're very difficult to kill, and it makes it actually better for you most of the time to actually run away than to actually fight them, because simply you're not going to have enough resources in order to take all of them out. You can't just it's not like other zombie games like Dead Rising where you're given like a steamroller and you can kill 10,000 zombies in a day. In this game, you have your weapons can break, and they can break very easily, which you'll see in this video. Also, as well, you, as with every zombie game, whether it's Resident Evil or Last of Us or Dying Light or all of them, when you have a firearm, the amount of ammo you get is so limited. So you can't just go around like shooting all the zombies. It doesn't work like that. And if Dying Light 2 is anything like Dying Light 1, then basically you won't even get any sort of firearms until end game. Now, what I'm showing you right now is the gameplay reveal trailer that was released during E3 2019. I will link in the description. I'm not going to show all of it here because simply it's 25 minutes long, but it's worth checking out. Now, Dying Light itself, because of the fact that the zombies are very formidable and so on and dangerous, it's actually better for you to run away most of the time. And what is helpful and fun with this game is that you are very skilled at running away. So you can climb up and down buildings, you can do a lot of parkour. And the things they've added to Dying Light 2 compared to Dying Light 1 is that they've expanded the sort of grapple hook system. Because before in Dying Light 1, when you had the grapple hook, it was literally just a case of point aim, it would take you straight there. Whereas in this game, you can, for example, swing with your rope, you'll have a parachute so you can get around quicker. It's almost starting to remind me of like Breath of the Wild, but whatever. And also as well, you can climb up and down buildings, you can jump off buildings, but you're not Superman. Like if you jump too far, you will die. So you can't jump off the top of all buildings and survive. There is fall damage in this game, so you have to really be careful with the jumps you do. And of course, just to annoy you, as with any game, there will be some leaps you have to do where simply if you mess it up you die. As simple as that. Like you have to do it right the first time. Now this game is going to come out on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One initially, but I'm sure once PlayStation 5 come out and Xbox Series X that it'll probably have some sort of release of compatibility with those platforms as well. And we can see obviously this one is being shown on console at the moment. Now with Dying Light, the good thing is, like, you see all these buildings, you see these environments, it looks very pretty. Because you're good at climbing and exploring and so on, most of these buildings, if not all of them, will be accessible. So it's not a case of they're just there to look pretty and have a pretty background. Like, you will be able to climb up buildings, you'll be able to grapple, you'll be able to explore a lot of stuff. So it really, really is open world, as I guess open world games are these days. And also, as well, you can see that it looks fantastic. Now, what's different with Dying Light 2 compared to Dying Light 1 is that there's more emphasis on the choices you make. So in the first game, simply you had a mission, you have to do the mission, the outcome was always the same for everyone who played the game. It's just a case of, here's a list of missions, do them. But in the second game, you have different choices. You have different factions at war with each other who are vying for control, because obviously you can imagine in a post-apocalyptic world, everyone is deciding, I want to be king. So, and you can see as well that obviously our faction or base is getting invaded by people and we're fighting off. So these are not even zombies, these are actually humans. So now basically the choices you make, so they gave an example, the choices you make are deciding which factions to side. So one of the factions, for example, controls the water supply in the town. So you can choose, for example, to either liberate the water supply by defeating that faction, or siding with them and having a chokehold on the water, basically, for the whole city. So it's up to you which way you go. That gives the game a lot of replayability, because it means that you will be able to basically see the impact of your choices, because they have shown already examples and screenshots of like what the city looks like if you side with one faction, what the city looks like when you side with another. Because, for example, affecting water supply will have a big physical impact on the city around you, and vegetation growing and so on. Now, when you're exploring and doing these missions, it's a case of you will always have the threat of zombies. As with any zombie post-apocalyptic zombie world, there will be zombies in hidden cracks and corners, in dark corridors and so on, that have been ignored or trapped in there and so on. So you really need to always have your wits about you with a game like this. And because of the constant running through different situations, and pretty much you can see all this running around and going through different buildings and so on, it means simply that you will always have to have your wits about you. Now, do not go into this game thinking you have to defeat every single zombie. Hell no. Like, in fact, if you have that attitude, you'll probably be dead in the first 10 minutes. Like, in fact, you should really focus on keeping your wits about you, staying alive, because the threat is not just the zombies, it's also the factions and the humans. And I am very much looking forward to this game, because one, it looks beautiful. I love Dying Light. I love the first game a lot. I want to see the new world and so on, and the impact it has. And with all open world games, I'm always looking forward to exploring the new territory and so on. And two, I'm looking forward basically to the new style of zombies that they might have. So in the first game, you had these different categories of zombies. So you had the normal zombies, the sort of slow, like, the typical zombies. They don't really do anything, but they can still kill you if you don't pay attention, even if they're like crawling towards you. Also, you have screechers. The screechers are zombies who will basically, if they see you, they'll sprint at you. Even if they see you at the top of the building, they will climb the building to come and get you and slap you around and so on. Then you have the spitters. The spitters are like the bloaters in Last of Us. They're basically big, fat, spit acid and so on. But they're a bit different. And also as well, you have the worst zombies in the game that I remember from the first game are the nightmares. So the nightmares only come out either in dark places or at night. And basically, most of the time, you shouldn't take them on. If you see them, you should just run for your life. Because in the first game, in the expansion, the following, you had a buggy. Like you could drive around and you can go around quickly. But even with that, the nightmares could still chase you. Like even if you were in a vehicle. So, like when you see the nightmares, like be ready to run. Now, of course, they've designed this game to allow you to have many chances of escape. Like in a lot of times, a sheer foot race, you won't win. So it's worth, sneaking around, going up and down corners, up around corners, or like you saw below that table or whatever, like using the environment around you in order to explore. As I always can see in this game, while we're chasing down this van, we have the constant threat of zombies. Constant. It's always the case. And it's like, whoops. So, we are trying our best to survive here, but you always will find yourself in situations like this, for example. You see, oh crap, lots of zombies and so on. And because you've fallen into a dark corridor, a dark place, the zombies have been forgotten and so on. Now, as you just saw, the weapon broke. Weapons, the general thing of this game, the general rule, if it's anything like Dying Light 1, is that when you have your own weapon, let's say you've crafted a weapon or found a good one, it will have a certain amount of durability. And then the durability, when it reaches 0, will mean the weapon is broken and you can't use it anymore. You can use most things as weapons, though. So as you saw, like I picked up a piece of metal, or he picked up a piece of metal, and you can use it as a weapon temporarily. So now the general rule is, when you have your own weapons in the future, you can repair them twice, and then that's it. You have to just bin them. So there will be a lot of like scrapping and scavenging for anything you can do to survive, anything you can use. What is shining the purple light is UV light. The zombies hate it. It was in the first game as well. So you have to use everything around you to survive. But most of the time, it's actually better for you to just run. Because simply you won't be able to take on this sheer number of zombies. You just won't. It's impossible. So you'll never survive. Because if you try and go on with a fist fight with a zombie, simply you will run out of health or you'll die. As with all zombie games, the resources you have are limited, even, for example, crafting health packs. So you will only have so many, so you should really save them for the big fights and the unavoidable fights and so on. So it's giving you a good demonstration of the parkour element in the game. You're constantly going to be on the fret. That's the thing with a game like this. So if you're anything like me and you suffer from anxiety and so on, beware of that. This game might really stress you out. It might trigger your fight or flight hormone, which can lead to a lot of symptoms. So beware of that. As with everything, like if it's going to be a problem for you, just don't do it. Like try and do something else. But for everyone else, I would highly recommend this game. Dying Light is great. If you haven't played Dying Light 1, please go back, check out Dying Light 1 and the expansion the following. You don't have to play Dying Light 1 in order to play Dying Light 2, because it's set in a different place. But it's worth doing, maybe just to see what the game is like. Because the point is with a lot of sequels is that obviously with the sequels they're trying to push the mechanics of the game as far as possible. So if you haven't actually played the first game and you go back to the first game after, then you probably will miss, like, oh, I wish I could do this that I can do in the second game. I wish I could do that. Whereas if you play them in order, then you'll have all the skills and mechanics you have in the first game, and then in the second game it will be expanded. Simple as that. So I am very much looking forward to Dying Light 2. We will see when it comes out. I will probably do more coverage of the game, maybe live stream and so on. So yeah, and I will link in the description as many resources about the game as possible, including a link to this video, this gameplay reveal. And also as well, I will link to my What is Dying Light video, which I recorded previously. So yeah, so now this, like I said, this video is a good 25 minutes, so it will give you a really good intro into how the Dying Light 2 will begin. As with any in development trailers, remember, subject to change, like, because it's still in development, things can change, but it gives you a good idea of what the game's going to be like. Okay, guys, so I think that's a good time to end it. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can watch a random video over there, you can watch the latest upload down there, or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you guys, bye bye.